Hi my loves, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite girl Favor here. If today is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, thank you so much for stopping by. On this YouTube channel, we learn how to turn void materials into a beautiful piece. So guys, today we are going to be learning how to cut and sew this wrap top you're seeing here with a bell sleeve. If this sounds like something you're interested in, let's head to the tutorial proper. So guys, for today's tutorial, this is the fabric we are going to be working with today. So for the sake of this tutorial, I made use of 1 yard and 27 inches. So if you're on a bigger side, I recommend 1.5 yard. So we're going to be cutting the back pattern, then we will make use of the back to use in cutting the front. Okay, so because of this fabric, if you open it up like this, you can see that when I mark a chalk on it, it's not going to be so visible. So for today, we are going to be marking at the front pattern. So disclaimer, it is not advised for you to mark on the front pattern. Okay, so now we're going to get our basic body. So from this point here, which is going to be 7 our shoulder, I'll come down by 10 inches, which is going to be our breast point. All I'm just doing here is to just take it around and mark the 10 inches at different points so that we'll get a straight line. I will go ahead and connect the line like this, still maintaining our tape from our shoulder. I will go ahead and mark the full length, which is 16. Now this full length is going to be the length of our blouse. So if you want yours to come down more, you would want to add extra 2 inches to your waistline. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just trim out this excess. Now we're going to mark our shoulder divided by 2, which will give us 8 inches. I'll mark the 8 inches down here. Now from that 8 inches, I will come down by 1 inch at this point, which is going to be 7 as our shoulder slope. I will mark it here. Now for our neck width, we're going to be making use of neck width of 3 inches. All right, so I'll mark the neck width at this point here, 3 inches. We'll mark down so just for us to see clearly. So at this point here, my hand was covering it. I marked 3 inches. Now from that our shoulder slope, we'll go ahead and connect it to our neck. So for the neck depth, for this back, remember we're cutting the back pattern. I'll be making use of 1.5 inches for the neck depth of the back. So is this back pattern that we're going to use to cut out the front pattern. Please take note. So we'll go ahead and connect the neck. Now after connecting the neck, the next thing we are going to do is to get our round armhole. So to get this, we divide your round bust measurement by 6 plus 1.5. Mine gave me 7.5 inches. That is what I marked there. Now we'll go ahead and just from our shoulder here, we'll connect it to our armhole depth just like this. All right, so the next thing we are going to do right now is to get our round armhole curve. So we're going to divide this into 2, just the way I used my tape to divide it. Now from that point, we'll come in by 1/2 inch, and then we'll go ahead and mark our round bust divided by 4 inches this time around. So mine divided by 4 gave us 9 inches. I'll mark it down here. Then I'll go ahead and add extra 2 inches seaming allowance to this. Okay, now what we're going to do, you are going to connect all these lines together. So from this point, I'll connect it to meet that allowance that we marked just like this. Okay, now we'll have our armhole curve. Now after getting our armhole curve, the next thing we're going to do is to get our just the same thing we have, which is our breast point. What we have here is what I will still mark down here. Okay, so there's no difference. Mark 9 inches and then still mark the 2 inches allowance. I will connect it down. It's still the same thing. All right, so at this point we're going to be making use of our waist circumference divided by 4. Mine gave me 7.5 plus 2 inches seaming allowance. I will mark it down here. So now we're going to go ahead and just connect it to this point just like this. Now after connecting it, we will go ahead and just cut it out. Okay, so after cutting it, this is what it looks like, and I've gone ahead to use our back pattern to place on a fresh fabric for us to get our front pattern, which is our wrap top. Now for you to know the distance of how the fabric you're going to extend out, you divide your round waist measurement by 4. So whatever you have, that is what you use to extend your fabric for the front wrap top. Okay, Now from our shoulder, we'll come down by 7 inches, which is going to be our neckline for the front. So depending on how low you want yours to be, you can do as much as 6 inches or you can do as much as 8 inches, depending on you. For me, I'll make use of 7 inches. Now from this point, that's our neck depth. I will connect it from this point, just where my hand is. Just come from here, and then we will go ahead and connect a straight line just like this, just like a V line, just put to this point. Okay, now let me quickly still explain something again. For you to know the distance of wrapper you are supposed to extend out just where my hand is, you divide your waist by 4. All right, you divide your waist measurement by 4. Okay, mine, I divided it by 4 and it gave me 7.5. okay, now from this point here, I will come up by 2.5 inches. Now this 2.5 inches is the rope, that is the extension of the rope that we are going to use in tying around our wrap top. All right, so after marking it, now we'll just come from that our neckline like this and just connect a straight line from this point here. Okay, you can see where my hand is and connect it to meet that 2.5 inches that we came up from. So you can either come up by 3 inches or 2.5 inches or 2 inches. Now the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead and just cut them out all through like this. All right, and this is what we have. Now what I'm going to do is that I am going to use these pieces, this our main fabric, to go and cut on our interfacing, which is our lining. So this is what our wrap top looks like at the front, you can see. So I will go ahead now, cut the interfacing for the 2, and then I will bring it back. Okay, so guys, I've gone ahead to cut out the interfacing for both the front and the back, and this is what we have. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to drop our main fabric and then use our lining, place it the front sides facing each other, though the lining does not have front and back. So the most important thing is that the lining is on top of the right side of your fabric. So we'll go ahead and stitch the neck area following the direction of my finger. We'll stitch the neck here, we'll stitch this other side, we'll stitch this lower part following half an inch, and then we'll stitch here. So the only place we're not stitching is the shoulder and the armhole area. Okay, now we'll keep this aside. Now for the front neck, we are going to pick it like this, and then we are going to open it up just like this. Now what we are going to do for this our wrap top here, I have gone ahead to cut out our band, not really band, a belt for it. So, and I cut out 5 inches on fold, so I've gone ahead to sew it together, and it gave me almost 2.5. now this is where we're going to place it. We're going to pick up this our belt rather, all right, and then place it on top of our top. That's that 2 inches that we came up when we're cutting out. So place it here, and then after placing it on the front side, please take note, we are going to pin it down. So definitely when we pin it down, it means that we are going to first of all run a stitch here. At this point, run a stitch before turning it in. So run a stitch here. So after pinning it, we'll pick our lining now and then drop it on top, or just place it on the right side where we have pinned down our belt. So we'll run a stitch there, and then we use our lining, place it on the right side of the fabric. So after arranging it, we are going to run a stitch starting from this point. See where my hand is? We're going to be running a stitch from this point all the way to this place. Run a stitch here, and then still run a stitch at this other end as well, and then at this other side. Remember, we are not running a stitch on the armhole, and we're not running a stitch here. So I will take this, attach it, and then I will bring it back for us to see. So guys, I've gone ahead to attach our interfacing, and I swear ironed it out. So all I did was to just pull it out from the armhole area. Okay, that's just it, and then I gave it a nice press. Now the next thing we're going to do is to pick up the back pattern and the front pattern and join the shoulders together. So in joining the shoulder, we're going to open it up just like this. You can see the way I open it up, and then open the other side. So what we're going to be doing is an invisible stitch. So pick the two like this. All right, can you see? Make sure they are in the same point, and then you just go ahead and turn it over like this, and then just close it up. So I'll go ahead, run a stitch on it, and then I will bring it back for us to see what it looks like. So you want to make sure you close up your shoulder with 1/2 inch. Please do not forget. And when you're running your shoulder, make sure the lining and the fabric are in the same place. So my loves, I've gone ahead now to attach our shoulder, and this is what it looks like. Can you see? I also gave it a nice press. So we're going to go ahead and keep this aside and work on our sleeve. So for our sleeve, we're going to be cutting the two together. Okay, now from this point, the length of the first upper part we're going to be using is 19 inches. All right, then I will come down by 5 inches, which is my biceps line. Okay, so I have a detailed tutorial on how to go about cutting of basic sleeve, but just pay attention to just watch what I'm doing and you're good to go. So at this point, we divide our bicep by 2 after coming in by 4 inches. Then this 4 inches here, we'll divide it into 2 again. Now after dividing it into 2, we're going to go ahead and mark our round sleeve measurement. Now my round sleeve measurement is 7 inches. I'll mark down the 7 inches, and then I will add extra 2 inches seaming allowance to it, just like this. Now after marking down our allowances, I will go ahead and just connect the lines, that dotted line from this here, from this point here like this, and then we'll go ahead and just curve it out to this point. So that division, we divided our bicep by 2, and then just connect it to meet our allowance, just like this. Please take note that for your sleeve you divide by 2. So I will impute my sleeves measurements at my wrist area where the bale sleeve is going to start from. I divided into 2. Now what we're going to do is to go ahead and just connect these lines. Like I said before, I have a basic tutorial on how to get your sleeve, so please do well to check that out. So after doing this, now we'll go ahead and just cut it out. So guys, after cutting it out, this is what it looks. So at that center, I will give it a notch. So we'll go ahead and open this up. Now the essence of this now is for us to go ahead for the other bale sleeve. All you just need to do is to go ahead and just cut out a straight fabric. Now in total, I wanted my sleeve to really come down to my finger area. So for our sleeve area, the total of the length of the sleeve that I finally used was 27 inches. So that 27 inches including the folding of the hemming of the down part. Okay, so this is really easy. So you pick at this point, you're going to kind of fold the hem, that hemming area I was talking about. So to achieve the bale sleeve, you want to cut out a straight fabric. You see the way my fabric is straight. So depending on how full you want your pleating or your gathers to be, so you make it as long as you want, and then the length you want your sleeve to be. Then when attaching your sleeve, you want to come in by 1 inch, run a stitch following the direction of my chalk like this by 1 inch. When you run a stitch on it before you now start pleating, please do not forget you have to run a stitch first before you now pleat. You can either pleat or you do gathers on it. All right, so I'll go ahead and attach it and bring it back. So my loves, I've gone ahead to attach our sleeve and I hem the base area. So this is what we have. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to now pick up our main blouse, and then remember that we notch the center of our sleeve. So when you're attaching it, that center is going to be lapping on top of your shoulder joining, and then you just go ahead, and then follow the line, the curve, and attach the sleeve to our blouse area. So I will go ahead and attach it to this other one, and then do the same thing for the other sleeve. Now after attaching the sleeve, I will go ahead and close up the side seams, that is our body shaping, with 1 inch. So my loves, I've gone ahead to attach our sleeve, and then I've gone ahead to close up our blouse, and this is what it looks like. So that's basically all for the cutting and sewing of this. So this is what our bale sleeve looks like. Can you see how wide it is, how open it is? So that's basically all. So guys, if you watch this tutorial to this point, please do not forget to click on the subscribe button. Please do not forget to turn on your notification bell so that you'll be the first person to be notified on our next tutorial. Please do not forget to like, please do not forget to leave a comment, please do not forget to share my video, and most importantly, please do not forget to go green. Thank you so much for watching. See you on our next tutorial.